Hey everybody, it's Mark, Dr. Deadwax, and we're back for day 30 of the Inbox Challenge. Today's numbers were picked by Elbosausage, Gary. Gary picked 5 numbers. We're going to do all 5 records. Thanks for picking the numbers, Gary. Thanks for playing along. Okay, the first record is Van Morrison's Hard Nose the Highway. This is Canadian pressing on Warner. This is the oft-maligned Unipack. This one was made with good glue. Watch it fall apart as I take the record out. And this is on the Warner Palm Tree label. What I like about this record is there's no side B. It's side 2, like with II, which is kind of cool. Roman numerals. I picked this up at a show for I think $1. Now this is a pretty malign Van Morrison record. Some people say it's like his worst record of the 1970s. At the time when it came out, it got a lot of rave reviews, but in hindsight, the critics have just turned their teeth to it. So, but I guess when you look at it, there was Astro Weeks in 1968, Moondance in 1970, His Band in the Street Choir in 1970, Tupelo Honey in 1971, and St. Dominic's Preview in 1972, and then this came out in 1973. This definitely does not live up to the standards of the previous 5. So some people say it's the death knell for the classic period, because I love Van Morrison. I think he's a genius. I think he's a brilliant songwriter, fantastic live performer, prolific, yet always producing something of interest and quality. Even his weakest records have something interesting about them. I didn't find this record to be that weak. It was enjoyable Van Morrison music. The hit on here was Warm Love. The song on here that's kind of interesting is Green. It's a cover of the song that Kermit the Frog sings. I guess apparently he watched Sesame Street with his daughter and was interested in the song or recorded the song for her, or I don't quite know. And it's a good record. If you don't like it, maybe try listening to it again. It's got the weirdest cover art you've ever seen. I've not quite any idea what is going on here, but it's a pretty good record. If it was by another artist, it would probably be thought of much more fondly. I mean, lots of artists would probably kill to have put out a record like that in their career, but when you compare it to his A-list records, it doesn't quite measure up. I'm a Van Morrison completionist, so it's essential. If you're not, look for those 5 I already talked about. But, just Van Morrison, just pure genius. I can't rave enough about him. I love his, he's had great albums in every period of his career. I love Hymns to the Silence, and I love Enlightenment. Both of those, they have some moments in those that are some of the best of his entire career, and those came out in 89 and 91. Next is Verdi's Aida, Scenes and Arias. The Opera House Rome, the orchestra and chorus of the Opera House Rome, conducted by Zubin Mehta. And this is on Angel. Again, I pulled out another one of the classical musics I'd set aside. I'd set this aside because it was on the Angel label. I know that that's an excellent classical label. I see that Adam got one from Jim as contest prize here. This one's Blue Angel. As with everything else, I have absolutely no idea what's going on with opera. I talked about it before when I talked about Tosca. I don't have a clue. And I said when I was listening to that one that I kind of wished I had some sort of translation of the lyrics. So this time I thought ahead and I looked inside, and there was the notes and the words and the translations, and I started to follow along, and then I realized actually it's more enjoyable not knowing what's going on. So I thought that was kind of weird that I'd wanted it and then I got it and then I didn't want it. Of course, isn't that the story of life? And then it comes with a nice Angel poly-lined inner sleeve. Angel did their sleeves right. And the record is just near mint perfect. I think it has a high amount of room or tape noise on it, but the actual vinyl itself is nice and quiet. I enjoyed it. Like I said, I have no knowledge or understanding of opera. I've just been listening to it and enjoying how different it is. And for me, it's a bit of a palate cleanser in a way. I don't know. Somebody else needs to do videos on opera and know what the hell they're about. I will never know what the hell they're about, or how to get this back in. So anyway, that's that one. And next up are a couple of funny ones. Funny because of the way they connect. Time Out, Tape 5. Or Time Out, the Dave Brubeck Quartet, featuring Take 5. Rondo El Turk, Strange Metal Lark, 3 to Get Ready, Kathy's Waltz, Everybody's Jumping, and Pick Up Sticks. This is 1959. Great year in jazz, 1959. And this is a masterpiece of jazz. No doubt about it. If you don't like this record and you like jazz, I don't know. I mean, you're just dissing it to be dissing it, but this is a 2i Columbia. This originally came out on a 6i Columbia. I got this from a collection of free records. It's a little scratched up. It's got this one nasty scratch on it there that you can see. And that baby ticks for quite a while. And this is really quite worn in the groove. I mean, I cleaned the shit out of it and it's still a crackling stack of wax. Once the music's going and the quiet passages have passed, I mean, the music overpowers the noise, which is one of the beauties of vinyl, but in the quiet moments it's quite unlistenable. I have a good 6i of this, so this will be going out. This one's a stereo version. There's also a mono version. I actually kind of like the stereo version. Has a great spaced out holographic almost presentation of the drum kit of Joe Moretto. I think it was Joe Moretto. The mono version, it doesn't have that big stereo sound, but it has this incredible tone to it that people don't even notice when I play the mono version that they're not listening to stereo. It's quite captivating, the mono. So that's that one. And then what was kind of funny was I also pulled this one, which is Miles Davis Kind of Blue, 1959. Again on Columbia. And this one's a 6i. And of course it's called a 6i because it has these 6 cameras. The CBS camera or eye or whatever. This one I know I've played this before. I don't know how it got back in the inbox, but I cleaned it up anyway. And this one has this remarkable scratch on it. You can see it there. Yeah, it looks like the letter L. So that ticks incessantly for like, oh, I don't know, 30% of that side. This was sold as, the seller online in a forum has this nebulous grading methodology, which is like shiny, extremist, lightest wear. So this was sold as basically perfect. Anyway, now what's this? This again is fantastic. I have a nice clean 6i mono, and I think or a nice clean 6i stereo, and I think I have a half decent 6i mono. What's kind of funny about these is these make up, in my opinion, 2 of the 3 essential jazz records for like a starter pack. If you don't know anything about jazz, and the 3rd record, just to put a vocal jazz record in there, is I think John Coltrane's and Johnny Hartman's John Coltrane and Johnny Hartman's John Coltrane and Johnny Hartman. I think that is another essential. And I think if you take that Coltrane, Hartman, and these 2 records and give them to somebody who doesn't know anything about jazz, it's a pretty good introduction to jazz. They're all accessible. They're all brilliant records in their own right. You know, they're not fusion, they're not free, they're not any of those things. They're just really good jazz records for people who don't know anything about jazz and want to learn, want to expose themselves. Most people I know who I've set them up with a trio like that, or they've gone out and they've bought those CDs or whatever, they've enjoyed them. So I thought, anyways, so I thought it was kind of funny that Gary's numbers made me pull 2 of these rather beat up copies, but nevertheless 2 of the 3 of my starter canon out of the inbox. And yeah, that one I bought offline. I paid stupid money for that one, but the seller refunded my money, so that was a good day. And finally, this is a French-Canadian band, Barde and Barde Images. And this is a French-Canadian French-Canadian Celtic folk band, not folk rock, Celtic folk. And they're this is on the Polydor label, and the Deadwax has SNBAL in it, and of course SNB is Sabine Brunet, who we've talked about a lot lately. Almost everything Polydor after a certain point is Sabine Brunet. All that stuff was done in Quebec and now Toronto. So like, think like classic Irish Celtic folk. Some of it sung in French, some of it sung in English, most of it instrumental. Think of it that way. 2 violins instead of 1, which is kind of interesting and unique. Comes with an insert sleeve with an inner sleeve with some lyrics for the. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of like 10 songs are vocal. The rest are basically traditional arrangements. Kind of a little bit more a little bit less traditional than Chieftains. Great stuff. Excellent, excellent stuff. 2 of these guys were French-Canadian, 2 of these guys were Irish, and 2 of these guys were American, and they were all in Montreal. And this is from 1978. This is their 2nd album. They put out 1 more album called Travels, and the first album is just called Barde. And I think I have that one too, or else I have another copy of this. And they broke up in 1983. So those are today's records that Gary's numbers brought to us. And so I have this, which I highly recommend this. This is a very, if you like Celtic music, if you like Irish Celtic music, you'll like this. It also has a bit of a down east Celtic twist to it too, which is slightly different than Irish Celtic. So I would recommend that. And this is dirt cheap. This is, you know, $3-4 on eBay and Discogs. The two standout classics from 1959, one of those wonderful years in jazz, like I think it's 1972, is like an amazing year in Prague. A little bit of opera, you know, this was enjoyable. I don't know if this is the best version of it. Aida, I can't recommend this to you because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. And finally, Hard Nose the Highway. A good record. You know, if you don't judge it against Astro Weeks, a better record, I think, than a lot of people give it credit for. So, those are today's records. Thanks, Gary, for picking the numbers. Thanks, everybody, for watching, commenting, subscribing, playing along. Have a great day. Keep the record spinning.